up, confident eaters? We are here today with a very special guest that I'm so excited to have on, and that is my client Ashley, who recently finished up the Confident Eater program. She's here to talk about her story, some things and lessons that worked for her, and really how she overcame lifelong history with food struggles and overeating and what really worked for her. So Ashley, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story with food, where it all began, and we'll dive right in.
Thanks, Amber. Thanks for having me. So I'm from Alberta, Canada. I am 17 days away from my 40th birthday. I'm a mom of two boys, 11 and 7. And I'm also a student for getting my bachelor's degree in nursing, as well as working full-time as a nurse.
So you're a busy lady, right? Like you have had a lot to do during this time, and we'll talk about how you overcame that as well with like, sometimes it's hard to prioritize yourself as a mom and your relationship with food. But what really made you start wanting to change your relationship with food, and what was that like before you started with me together?
So a couple of years ago, I started 40 Things to Do Before I Turned 40, which was actually inspired by another podcaster who does binge eating. And one of them, as I progressed through my list, I found that my goals had changed. And towards the end of my list, I felt ready to conquer this goal that I have had for such a long time. And I found you, and that's when I began working with you. I would say before I started working with you, I was very confused about what I was supposed to do. Are you supposed to do macros? Are you supposed to lift weights? Are you supposed to do cardio? Are you supposed to eat clean? And when I feel like I knew what I was going to do and I made a goal, I was like, okay, this meal plan is what I'm going to follow. When I got to the point where 3 days later, it was time to really hone in on that skill of eating that way, it would just not happen. And I didn't know why, because you know what you're supposed to do, you have a clear idea of what you're supposed to do, but you're just not doing it. And that was kind of my history with food, is I have always tried Weight Watchers, lost weight, gained it back. Tried macros, I lost 20 pounds, 6 sizes, and then I gained it all back. As soon as I wasn't doing it, it came back. And heading into my 40s and that kind of different stage in my life, I didn't want to do that anymore. I was spending so much time just trying to lose weight, only to have it come back again.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about your experience of counting macros and what that was like for you, and then why you think it ultimately didn't work long term.
In the very beginning, I really liked counting macros. I think because it was associated with seeing results.
Mhm.
But through working with you and kind of seeing how it could be done differently, I realized there was more things I didn't like about it than I did. So when I was counting macros and I was really hungry, my calorie count was very low and I would get dizzy, I would be angry, I would want to just sleep because I didn't have the energy to keep going. And I also use sleep as a way of like, okay, if I can't eat, if I just stay in my room and be quiet, then I won't be hungry in the cupboard. But I also found it took so much time. So when I was hungry and I got home and was eating my supper, when I really wanted to sit down and eat, I had to start getting out the measuring cups and the scale and figuring out and putting it into my Fitness Pal. And then on the days where I was really tired and exhausted and didn't want to do that, then I just didn't do it. And it was this, well, if not today, let's just finish it out, have everything we can have, and I'll start again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just this, couldn't fully commit for a long time. It was very short term to get those results. And it was a lot of effort and a lot of work to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Only to have it been taken away.
Yeah, right. It's like so time consuming, so effortful. Like I had done that too for a long time, and I was really scared to stop it too, because I thought like it feels like you're in control, but if it's ruling your life, really the calorie count is controlling you and the macros are controlling you, not the other way around. And so you realize after a time period, it's like, wait, if I feel like I can't eat without this, or, all goes haywire if I don't do my macros today, it's like, well, this isn't going to really work long term. And no one really wants to do it long term. Everyone thinks like, oh, I'll just do this for a little and then I'll be good. But whatever you do to lose the weight and change your relationship with food is what you're going to have to do to maintain it. So if you're losing weight with macros, you're like, okay, great, I'm going to get there. Well, in order to maintain it, you're probably going to have to do that too, because that's the skill you were using to lose the weight. And most people are not like thinking ahead and like, oh, I want to be calorie counting for the next 50 years of my life. It's like, well, actually, I don't want that. Maybe I should try something else instead.
Absolutely.
So what really inspired you to start working with me versus like trying something else just on your own or working with another person?
When I found your podcast, I started listening to that beforehand. And then I actually did a free goal setting workshop with you
Mhm.
for 2025. And it
Mhm.
was in that I thought, I want to work with you. I just liked how upbeat you were, very confident in what you were doing. You believed in it, you knew it was going to work, and you knew about the subject. And I really appreciated that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that was my vision board workshop. I remember doing that. And it's funny you mentioned that one because I remember I was in Utah at the time and I was like 7 minutes late and I was freaking out. And I was like in a coffee shop because I was at a friend's house that weekend and it was a big mess in my mind. And I want to point that out though, because I think a lot of times in our head, this is a perfect example of like perfectionism and how we think that like we need to do things right all the time in order for it to work out. And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, that workshop was a mess. But in your mind, you're like, wow, that was great. That was so valuable. And a
It
lot of
was
times,
very valuable. It's
yeah.
still on my computer, my vision board. And that's what made me kind of shift from like doing the short term to doing the long term.
Hmm. Yeah.
And through you talking there, it really made me realize it wasn't the skill of learning how to count macros or doing Weight Watchers or whatever you're counting, because you're always counting something.
Mhm.
It was more the mindset that has to be there to have the
Mhm.
success. And that it was an aha moment of, I don't have that. My
Mhm.
mindset was the same all through the macros, all through Weight Watchers,
Mhm.
whatever diet I was on of the week.
Yeah. So as you started the program, what are some changes that you made and shifts that happened in your life?
One of the big shifts for me was I always used to say I'm on autopilot. With everything I was doing, I was just continuing to do whatever worked for me. And through working with you, I was able really to find intention with what I was doing. One of the things that kept coming up for me was rest. I had some different thoughts about rest. I thought if you rest, you were lazy. If you rest, it was weakness. And so I had always kept things really high paced. But when it was really high paced, I thought the only way to get rest was to eat. Because when I was eating, my kids would leave me alone. It was something everybody has to do. And so I was okay to do it. And so
Mhm.
even if I wasn't hungry, as long as I had something in front of me, I had that moment of rest. So there was quite a few things of how that reached out into other areas of my life and affected things like playing with my kids. It kind of always came back to this rest and or being very busy. So
Mhm.
keeping myself busy. So now I find I'm more intentional with my time. One of the things I learned how to do was when I was doing something that wasn't eating, say painting my nails or doing hypnosis, because I really enjoyed the hypnosis that you taught us.
Mhm.
I had to tell myself, this is me resting. And when I do that, my brain acknowledges it more so than when I didn't do that. And
Mhm.
so by telling myself that, I found that I've relaxed a lot more. So yeah, I can stop and rest more. And there's no more these high intensity moments.
Right. And I see this with so many women, especially in moms, where they just feel like they have to be on all the time, that like if they take like 2 seconds to rest, the whole world's going to fall apart and everything's going to go wrong. But really, that's exactly when everything does go wrong, because that's when you stop treating yourself well. And then we always hear it. It's like we have to fill our own cups up first before we help other people. And when you were in those moments, like I remember this was kind of like, I feel like a huge theme of our coaching of like, okay, how do we feel safe to rest? Because you can rest, but if the whole time your brain is like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, and I feel guilty for doing this, then you're not actually resting because you're just so stressed the whole time that you're reading your book or watching a show or doing something. And so it's like doing the action of rest, but then going back to the mindset piece, it's also having this mindset of allowing yourself to rest. And I love this thought that we developed together of like, this is me resting, because that shows your brain, hey, look, I am getting my rest time. I don't need to go to food to rest because this is me resting right now. And for anyone listening who's going through the same thing, I think it's important to show yourself the times that you are already getting in rest, because then we might get this thought too of like, oh, it's never enough. Like I never have enough time to myself. I never have enough rest. And it's like, well, yes, but if we think that, then it never is enough. It doesn't matter if you rested 24 hours a day, you would still feel unrested if you're telling yourself it's not enough. So it's looking at, okay, where can I build this intentionally into my schedule? But then also, how can I do it guilt-free and make it seem like it's enough so I don't want to keep going to the food after?
Absolutely.
How did you get rid of the guilt around that feeling like, oh my gosh, I should be doing something else right now?
When we did the thought models,
Mhm.
Thought models are my favorite. I love them. I had this thought, like you said, like I couldn't relax. I felt guilty. But then when you do the thought model and you say, when I rest, what do you think? What are your actions? Well, you're calmer. You can give more. You
Mhm.
can play with your kids. You can cook good meals, healthy meals for them.
Mhm.
Those thought models for me were putting it in front of me to show me the proof. Because being that my brain was on autopilot and had these thoughts, there's no way of questioning them.
Mhm.
And so the thought model for me was proof to show me that it can be done. And
Mhm.
then once you see the proof, you have to say, oh, I guess I never thought of that way.
Yeah.
And boom, your mindset has completely changed to I need to rest so that I can go out there and give a little bit more to my kids and to have a full life. Where before it was all going to losing weight
Mhm.
or trying to be busy so that I wasn't resting. The thought models for me was definitely what I needed to help shift my mindset. And
Mhm.
that's where the big changes came for me was not learning how to diet, it was learning how to control my thoughts to reach
Mhm.
my goals.
Right. And what Ashley is talking about is this tool that we use in my program. It's a mindset tool that helps you understand your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions and how they're all related. It's a tool that's based off of cognitive behavioral therapy. And so many people love it. It's been life changing for me in so many different areas. You can use it beyond just your relationship with food, too, which is so nice that you have tools for like stress and anxiety and all the other things of our emotions of life at any point in time. I think, too, it's so nice that you're doing this work for you now so your kids can see an example of like what a mom looks like who takes really good care of herself, because so many of us are just like continuing generational patterns from our mom and our grandma that just keep getting passed down, and so it feels uncomfortable because that's what we're taught about like rest and hard work. But to be able to have our kids growing up saying like, oh, my mom, she was like, she showed us what true rest looked like and she showed us what true health looked like. I think that's also like a huge motivating factor for so many moms to be that example, because we think we're doing so much for the kids, but then all they're seeing is a mom who's overworked at the end of the road, who just is snappy and sharp with people because she's just so burned out. And that's not the type of mom that people want to be either.
Yeah. And that's another thing that's been really nice working with you is it wasn't just something that helped me out, it was helping out my kids. And already with my family, I can see their mind shifting. And I've even used mindset work with my kids for things. It's been more than just what was good for me and my goals. They too have been growing because of it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And one of the big things is, we focus on the weight, but I came to the realization that that's not what life's about.
Mhm.
I've been trying so hard to lose weight for so many years that life always kind of revolved around it. In every aspect of my life, it was touching it. So if we traveled somewhere, if I was counting macros, the scale came with me. So I was still giving it attention.
Mhm.
And through working with you, and I don't waste time on that, there's so much more time for other things in life that are enjoyable. And me and my son, we've been working on things we want to do together, some goals for the year, his life goals, and just getting to focus on something else other than making sure I waste a certain amount has been such a game changer for me and them.
Yeah, I love hearing that, because that's the whole reason we want to lose weight in the first place is like we want to be happier, we want to be healthier, we want to have more energy. And what most people don't realize is you don't have to get to that ideal number that you have in your head on the scale in order to start living that life now. A lot of what changes when you heal your relationship with food and start to let go of all of the BS dieting stuff that we do is you start to achieve everything you want that you thought that number on the scale would give you, but you get it now. And it's like so much better that way. And, some people do continue on their weight loss journey and hit their goal weight. But I also find that a lot of people's goal weights, they just like randomly set for themselves, and it has like no true like base value of like why that number was set. It was just kind of like a random number. We're like, oh, that sounds good. That should be my goal weight. And it's like, well, like what if you don't actually need to get there to have everything you want that you imagine would come from that number? Because I've also seen, and this probably happened to you too, where it's like you lose weight and you're still absolutely miserable in your life and around food, sometimes even worse so than when you were at a higher weight. And so it's really not like this magical bullet solution that's going to solve everything for you. It's like you have to do the work to really heal yourself and to change your mindset around food, because that's what's going to give you the happiness, the freedom, the things that you want.
Yeah, I feel like I'm happier now being a little heavier, but doing all those things that I
Mhm.
want than being small and focusing so much and obsessing over the food and
Mhm.
giving all my attention to that.
Yeah. So tell me, is there anything else that you want to share about what changed for you in the program or specific ways that your life shifted?
I am definitely talk nicer to myself.
Hmm.
I don't have as much self hate.
Hmm.
I notice I can control my thoughts a lot more. Even when they do start to creep back and be negative, I
Hmm.
am aware of them a lot more and can question them and say, is that really what I want to be thinking? Is that going to help me get to where I want to go? I also struggle with IBS. And so one of the big things is I was always sick, and overeating
Hmm.
led to that a lot of the time. It wasn't just what I ate, it was how much I ate, how fast I ate.
Hmm.
And so I've definitely not had to deal with that illness as much,
Hmm.
and just being more intentional with my life.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had down that you had a lot of your stomach aches came from overeating and eating the wrong foods before. A lot of
Mhm.
inflammation happening, a lot of fatigue happening, and overeating is really stressful to our body. Like people just think of it from this lens of like, oh, it's bad because I might gain weight from it. And it's like, no, like you overeating is the most taxing thing your body does every day. So if you're having to, overdo that and overrun it, like your digestion is always on and always having to work so hard for you. And we need to take a moment of gratitude for that too, of like, wow, like thank you, body, for always getting me through all of this extra food that I've given you over the years. And knowing that when we stop overeating, it makes it so much easier in our digestive tract. So everything from gas, bloating, constipation, like all of anything digestive related, if anyone has any issues with that, that is usually improved when we stop overeating too. Even if we don't change anything about the quality of our food. Like I see people all the time thinking about, oh, I'm bloated, I need to eat healthier. And it's like, well, maybe you just need to eat less food and you want to be so bloated all the time because your body's not having to process all of that. Again, just beyond the actual volume of food itself, when your body's stressed, it just isn't as functioning as well as it normally would be with all that extra food. And same thing on the flip side, though, if you're under eating, that also is very taxing on your digestive system because it's not getting enough nutrients and enough energy. So both extremes can be very difficult to deal with and cause a lot of different health issues. And really, like that middle ground where we're nicely listening to our hunger and fullness is what will make every other system function better.
Right.
Okay, and I also have down that you used to buy, and let me know if this is the right number. I thought I heard it right, but 6 bags of chips a week, but now buy three.
Mhm.
Is that the right statistics?
Yes. Yeah. I even, one of your exercises was to sit mindfully with a bowl of chips and eat it. And I did that with a bowl of Doritos. And I discovered I really hate Doritos. I have not bought Doritos since then. I find them so fake. I can't believe I used to eat, like easily would eat half a bag in one sitting. And after like 3 bites of the bowl, when I was doing that exercise, it was like, man, I really don't like cheesy Doritos.
Mm,
So yeah, definitely less. And another exercise was don't think about what we're giving up, but what we can add.
mm,
And that was always one of my big things was chips and salsa. Is I needed to have them every night to feel again relaxed. That was my time to have it. And so I haven't bought chips and salsa, I think, this round for 2 weeks. And before that, when I did buy it, I think it was like another 2 weeks before that. So
yeah.
it's been a long time, but I've gotten to try other foods because I really like nuts right now with
Hmm.
a little bit of chocolate chips in them. And I
Hmm.
have just a little bowl, and that's my snack for the night.
Hmm.
And I find it way more enjoyable than the chips because the salsa actually used to make me feel really sick.
Yeah, I love to hear that. That's always so fun when I hear people, they're like, oh my gosh, I realized I didn't like this food that I used to be obsessed with. Usually, what we really like is just like the mindlessness around it and like the fact that we
Mhm.
like get to zone out and we don't have to think about anything. It's like we don't actually like the Doritos that much. And when you start to change your taste buds and you get used to eating more real foods and enjoying that, it makes it so like the foods really do genuinely taste fake. Like majority of chocolate, I just cannot eat because it tastes bad to me now. It tastes like so overly sugary, overly like fake fatty. It tastes like plasticky to me. And so I'm very picky with my chocolates. And I unfortunately only get the really expensive ones now. These are the only ones I like. But, it just shows us that that's what our body actually wants. It wants the real foods. It wants the healthy foods. Like that's what our body is innately made to seek out and crave. But we've just been led astray by our habits and by the food system to crave the wrong foods that we don't actually really want for ourselves.
Yeah. And with the foods that we don't really want to put in our bodies, we end up feeling guilty and bad about it. Where, you say you like the better chocolate, you get to go and enjoy that and it makes you happy as opposed to making you feel gross or
Mhm.
sick or bad about yourself. Like to me, that seems like you're still having the chocolate.
Mhm.
but you might as well enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing that you noticed is that you started saving money on your groceries and that you needed less pieces of pizza. Tell me about
Mhm.
that aspect of how this has helped you financially in a way, because the program is an investment and a lot of people get nervous about doing that. But I like to remind people that overeating is costing you too. Like, it's not a free habit to have, it's costing you in a very different way. So what has that changed about your financial situation, or like how it's given back to you in that way?
So I remember the first time I was walking out of work and I was like, oh, that was such a bad day. I'm going to go home and I'm going to order skip the dishes and I'm going to get the fattiest burger and I'm just going to sit and do nothing.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden this thought popped in, and why would you want to do that to yourself and make yourself feel worse? You
Mhm.
deserve to eat a good meal after being really busy.
Mhm.
And that was the first time I saved on takeout from the program.
Mhm.
And I was thinking about it again here before I got on with my family. By the time we do skip and the tip and the delivery fees, it's $80 for McDonald's each
Mhm.
time. And we used to do that a couple times a week.
Mhm.
And so $160 a week for 4 weeks. Here in Canada, we had to pay the exchange rate. And so I used to pay, that was my payment monthly for your program.
Mhm.
And the investment part, we so easily spend money on other programs short term, or protein powder. I don't use
Mhm.
protein powder anymore.
Yeah.
And because maybe it's not so much in a lump sum, it's easier to digest,
Mm.
but it's not doing anything for us. So
Mhm.
this investment, it's so worth it. And yeah, we're still saving money on not going out. And even my husband now, when I'm like ready to give in and say, oh, let's just order in, I had a bad day, he's like, no, we can cook at home, it'll be okay. Like, he's kind of shifted some of his thoughts to help me when maybe I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and then you're not buying as much pop. We're not buying as much chips. We're not buying the sweets. We're not going out on a whim and getting takeout. Yeah, definitely
Mhm.
saved quite a bit of
I
money.
yeah. I like how you mentioned, all the other, like, stupid shit that we spend money on every month, but we just don't really, like, consider it as like, "Oh, just like a little Target run here and there," like, little things that don't really add value to our life, and, like, this is our health that we're talking about. They always say, like, you have a million things to do and a million priorities until you don't have your health, and then you only have one priority, and that's
Oh,
healing and getting better, and I truly believe that we think everything else in life is important, and, "Oh, yeah, we'll work out another day. We'll work on our food another day." But it's like, no, like, if that's not going well, then everything else is impacted, and it truly is the foundation of our life. And I love that, you're still noticing the savings and the benefits of not having takeout and getting to save that money, because we often tell ourselves in our mind, like, "Oh, it's not that much," but it really does add up. And it doesn't take that long
mhm.
to make something at home if we do it fast and easy. And that's something that I remember we worked on a lot, is like our mindset too around, oh, it takes so long to make something at home, or it's so hard, or, I'm just so busy. It's just so much easier. And it's like, well, actually, it's really not that much easier. It probably takes the exact same amount of time, still takes effort to get out, take out, and it takes effort to be tired all the time and having to motivate ourselves to do things after that, because we feel so heavy and sluggish from that meal versus energized from the food we just ate.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anything else that you would add to the changes that you've made, or what you loved most about working together?
I love that this is only going to grow, that I learned the skills from you and the awareness while working with you.
Mhm.
And now it's been a couple months, so I can see how much change I've made since then. I made a change through the program, and then since the program, how I keep going. So I know that it's going to keep me moving forward in the future, as opposed to some of the other ones where, you reach your goal and then you give up and then you go back. It's just a continuous thing. And that it's in other areas of weight. Actually, the weight isn't even, it's not what I focus on anymore. I don't weigh myself anymore. I did this morning just to see where I was at before doing the
Mhm.
call. I hadn't lost any weight, but I've lost 2 inches off my belly and 2 off my hips. And that was just me living. That wasn't
Mhm.
me doing anything that I didn't like, grinding my teeth to
Mhm.
bear through something, bear through a workout. I've been doing workouts that I like to do. And that was just me living life
Mhm.
and still losing the weight. But the weight hasn't even been my mind anymore.
Mhm.
It's not something I worry about like I
Yeah.
used to. It's crazy how your mind can just shift and see different aspects of your life that I've been missing for a really long time when I was gaining some
Mhm.
weight. I remember this one time I was visiting my sisters and she was counting macros still. And our kids are the same age and they wanted to go play. And she stayed in and she weighed her food. And I
Mm.
went outside and I got to play soccer with the boys. And I was
Mm.
like, wow, that's what I would have been doing.
Mhm.
I would have been in the house counting macros, probably been really hungry afterwards because it wasn't enough. And here I am in the sunshine playing with my boys.
I
And
just feel like chills from that. That's so beautiful.
I love that moments like that are only going to happen more and more.
Right. And I love how you mentioned that the weight isn't the whole thing. And even though your weight didn't change, you are losing fat because your waist went down, your measurements went down. And I think that's important to hear for people here too, because like we give so much value to that number on the scale when really all that is a measure of your gravitational pull on Earth. Like that is literally what your weight is. It is not telling you how much fat you've lost, which that's what we all want to lose. We don't want to lose muscle or anything else. We just, it's only the fat that we want to lose. So it's not actually telling us that. And it's not telling us, it can't measure the moments that you're having playing soccer outside in the sunshine. Like the number on the scale can never give you that, or your waist measurements or anything like that. And now you get to have those moments back and creating family memories with them versus like, no, it really, I truly believe that dieting and the whole weight loss industry, it's such a way to oppress women and keep them small and keep them from going after their big goals. And if women didn't care about their weight, it's still important to care about our health, of course. And that doesn't mean that if we don't care about our weight, we don't care about our health. That's like a whole nother conversation. But when we stop like obsessing over the number on the scale and like micromanaging every single thing about our body, it's like, wow, women are capable of so much more than that.
And
Now,
you have the time to achieve more.
yeah, exactly. And you're obviously in school, and that's one thing that I wanted to talk to you about too. And as a woman in healthcare, something that we talked about too is your crazy work schedule at times and your school schedule. Like it made it a little bit harder sometimes to think about, okay, how can I listen to my hunger and fullness? How did you navigate your work schedule and your busy life schedule while also doing the program and learning how to feel your body right?
I think one of the good things about the program is your thoughts and eating are going to happen anyways.
Mhm.
And so there was no effort outside of those things. But
Mhm.
I mean, it's like I'm not going out of my way to like count the calories, weigh the food, track
Mhm.
it. I was gonna eat supper anyways. And so when I was navigating it through school, it felt like it fit in already. It just replaced what I was doing before with a better way of doing things.
Mhm.
It's not like it was one more thing on my plate. It actually removed quite few things from my daily schedule.
Mhm.
And at night, one of the things I like to do now is crawl into bed and just take a few deep breaths and kind of just think about the day. What did I
Mhm.
like today? What did I do that was really fantastic? Oh, good for me. I did that. I will do that again tomorrow. What could I do if I liked it? What could I do a little bit better than what that was in a very positive way? It wasn't that I had to shift how I was doing things because it easily fit in to what I was already doing. It was just changing the way I thought about it and changed the way I was already doing something.
Mhm. Right.
And with the resting and stuff like that, I feel like it actually gave me a little bit more time to work on myself because I wasn't going berserk and I wasn't running around like a chicken with my head cut off anymore because I knew that this mattered and I could sit and put time into myself.
Mhm.
It's amazing what you can do positive for your body when you're not wasting your energy on things that don't matter.
Yeah, right. And same thing as like the money thing. It's like you're already spending so much time on your eating habits. It's not like deciding to do a program or make this a priority is going to like add so much more into your plate because you're already spending time on it. So now we're just shifting the quality of your thoughts while you're thinking about food while you're sitting down. And that's something that, you're already thinking about food. So let's just shift how you're thinking about it. And that makes it so much easier. I started smiling when you were saying all that because you can hear in Ashley's voice how much more kinder and curious you are to yourself. Just the way that you talk to yourself at the end of the day. Like, how often have we sat there at the end of the day saying, oh my God, I did it again. I overate. I'm so mad at myself. I'm never going to get this. Like, I'm just so overweight. I can't believe all this. I let myself go. Like, all of these really negative, degrading thoughts that we might have told ourselves before. And now it's like, let's just get curious about the day. Like, what went really well? What am I proud of myself for? What can I celebrate me for? What might I want to shift for tomorrow? And that's, again, such a valuable skill in every area of life to have that kindness because that's what actually moves us forward. Because then you're going to bed, you're feeling good about yourself, you wake up, you want to continue the positivity and the good vibes the next day instead of feeling like, hopeless and in this deep, dark hole that nothing is working. It's like, wow, every moment of the day, I'm starting to see these little wins and these little opportunities where I am doing well. And that makes me keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, what would you tell someone who's on the fence about working with me or in the Confident Eater program?
I would tell them that if they are here listening to your podcast, they're already showing themselves that something isn't working, that they're not where they want to be. And to take the opportunity to invest in yourself and your family. It is an investment in yourself. And it's honestly one that I think everybody should get a chance to do. It can change the way you go through life, how you treat yourself, and what you're able to achieve at the end of the day. Working with you, it goes beyond the scale. It will change other areas of your life. Again, we're so willing to do these cheap or these fast things like the Weight Watchers that get the results. But again, if you're here, you know that it doesn't work. So trust that doing something different will actually get you to where you want to go.
Very well said. Yeah, because temporary fixes are just that, a temporary fix, right? Where it's like we feel like we're getting some changes, but it doesn't really last. And so it's still at the end of the day, wasted time, money, energy versus deciding like working on your mindset and changing your brain is not necessarily the easier route right away. Sometimes it does require us to step outside of our comfort zone a little bit and do something new. But like you need to do something new because what you're trying right now is not working. And so it's like taking that little leap of faith that like maybe this could work for me. Maybe this could be different. Maybe I could be a changed woman after this and deciding to do it anyways, even if there's like a little bit of fear there, because that's always normal. You know, when you've tried so many things before, when you've dealt with this for so long, but if we don't ever try something new, then we can't ever get a different result. Thank you again for coming on today, Ashley. It was so good having this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. It was an amazing opportunity. Thank you so much.